Hey Greysteel Nation, welcome back. Sully here with the Barbell Prescription, keeping you strong in your 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. Thanks for subscribing. From the very beginning, the female of the species has had to face some unique challenges. First, there was that rush to judgment over the murky business with the snake, which left her taking the rap for Applegate. Then there's the unilateral responsibility for gestating, whelping, and nursing every shrieking diaper filler since Cain and Abel, and all of the requisite biological processes and structures thereunto pertaining. And then, of course, we have the advent of agriculture, which demanded more organized and specialized family and social structures, not to mention a greater demand for child labor. The heavy work of agriculture was more suited to the stronger sex, and the dangerous work of protecting the spatially concentrated wealth produced by agriculture from raiders imposed a gender-specific segregation of duties. At least according to some narratives formulated by people who weren't there, and which aren't any better substantiated than the snake story. On this view, the switch to agriculture transformed our prehistoric sister from a matriarchal fellow hunter-gatherer to a sort of Betty Crocker, homemaker, cook, nursemaid, clubhouse custodian, and human resources acquisition agent. Skip forward about 10,000 years. The social and political subordination of women seems to be well along the way to an anachronism, which is all good, but definitely incomplete. It turns out that Virginia Slims weren't really the turning point after all. We'll set aside the contentious issues of the glass ceiling in culture, the workplace, and politics. In my own field of medicine, we have evidence that certain critical interventions, treatments, and analgesics are not afforded to women, especially women of color, as often as they are to men. I think we can agree that's pretty heinous, and fortunately we're beginning to address these discrepancies. But biology still shortchanges women in a number of ways. It's not all bad. Women tend to live longer and have less mortality and morbidity from a range of medical conditions. Still, in a number of important ways, aging is particularly challenging for the weaker sex. Okay, let's get that out of the way first. It turns out that, yes, women are in fact weaker than men. Not fair, but true. The reasons for this are predominantly biological, having to do with gender differences in body composition, muscle mass, and neuromuscular efficiency. This may seem like a rotten fact of life, but I hasten to point out that while women as a population are weaker than men, women are not condemned to be weak. In my position, you get to know many women who are much stronger than men their same age, because women, like men, can train for strength and achieve magnificent results. On the other hand, women are less likely to do something about it by getting under the bar and training for strength and hypertrophy. The culture at large, and doctors in particular, carry much of the blame here. Any doctor who tells a woman over 40 to focus on cardio, with strength training neglected or as a mere adjunct, is engaging in malpractice and should be demoted to bedpan duty after some serious counseling with a ball-peen hammer, a pair of pliers, and a blowtorch. Seriously, I'm so sick of hearing about this. Anyway, the same processes, social and biological, collaborate to rob the aging woman of her precious bone mineral density. Contrary to popular impression, this is not unique to females. I've seen far too many osteopenic hips on male radiographs and CAT scans. But women definitely take it on the chin here, and this is all the more regrettable because we now know that strength training with structural standing exercises that load the spine and hips can arrest and even reverse this loss in bone mineral density. The benefits are almost incalculable. The morbidity, misery, cost, and mortality associated with vertebral compression fractures and hip fractures, not to mention less common pathological fractures of other bones, is simply staggering. Again, any primary care physician who fails to explicitly prescribe resistance training directed at imposing beneficial stress on the axial skeleton and hips is derelict in his duty. Finally, there are less biologically explicit benefits to resistance training. Women, again, tend to live longer, which means they tend to outlive their male partners. Without an appropriate exercise medicine and training program, Women are at enormous risk for loss of independence, with the associated social isolation, depression, and loss of human dignity. Regular viewers will be aware that I consider heavy strength training with barbell-based compound movements to be mandatory medicine for healthy aging. Unless there is a specific and absolute contraindication, aging indicates a barbell prescription. But this activity is indelibly associated in the modern mind with men, and younger men at that. And so women take it on the chin again, because while everybody needs a barbell prescription after 50, women need it the most. The impact of strength training medicine on the female half of the population is the most profound, because the benefits to bone, muscle, strength, independence, and quality of life are most dramatic in women. The good news? It's all changing. More women are getting the message from more hip doctors and the culture that they need to train for strength. We see more women under the bar than ever, making wonderful progress. Even better, it turns out that women are not, in fact, a different species, and they respond to the same exercises, the same programming, and the same nutrition and recovery factors as their puppy dog tails counterparts. Yes, there are some minor wrinkles, as we discuss in the book, but they are just that, and they appear later in training, not at the beginning. An older female at Greysteel starts with the same novice progression as her husband or brother. 3 sets of 5, adding weight from workout to workout. There's still a lot of work to do. When we look at the analytics for this YouTube channel, for example, we find that our viewership does not reflect the proportion of females in the general population. Our camps and seminars do better, but are still majority male affairs. However, this is not what we see here in the Greysteel Clinic, where our clientele reflect the actual population. A little over half of my clients are women. But we feel it's incumbent on us to address this discrepancy in any way we can and finally dissolve the implicit assumption that heavy lifting is for men. Your suggestions, comments, and experiences in this regard are welcome. Share them in the comments. It's really important to me because I am dedicated to getting this medicine to the people who need it the most. Ladies, that means you. Keep watching. We've got more great content on staying strong in the second half of life coming right at you.